Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
Everyone, and welcome to a Monday here on Main Street TV, where we have two very special guests in the studio this morning, and we're going to talk about all things apples and trees in the city and stuff. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I guess first off, could you introduce yourselves?
Yes, my name is Tracy Plans. I'm an executive assistant with the city. And I work a lot with projects and grant writing for the city.
Yes, and bless you for knowing how to do all of that. Thank you.
Yes, my name is John Daniels. I work for the city, and I'm the city arborist. So anything trees, I'm your guy.
Tree related. And Tanya's here. Welcome.
I feel like a family reunion is going on here.
Hi.
Hello.
Our sweet Tanya is sitting over in the peanut gallery, so, and if you guys don't talk long enough, she may have to, so.
I'm out.
Now, see how I have this uncanny ability to make people run away. It's so cool. Okay, so our sweet Cheryl was telling us that today is National Apple Day. Who knew it was a thing? She keeps up on all the days. It's pretty cool. She's a good one to have around for more than one reason. But so we were talking about how the apple orchard has been kind of planted in Jackson, here, there, and everywhere, and whatever. So you guys came in to talk about that today. So how fun!
Yeah, so we established the orchard in 2022. Currently have 25 trees there.
Are there that many?
Yes. Over the past few years, we've added after we established some.
And this is, if you haven't noticed, it's at Manpower Park. And are there other trees, other places, or?
No, this is the only orchard that
orchard? Okay.
that the city has established. There's room for more.
Yes.
Okay.
And kind of a fun note about that, Mayor Evans met with Dave Apsley from OSU prior to establishing the orchard to test the soil, and they looked at a couple different areas in town for the apple orchard.
Oh, that makes sense.
And unfortunately, they found that the soil was not ideal there at Manpower Park for apple trees. It had previously been a parking lot, but they were able to come up with a plan, and with our arborist here,
Yes.
to remove the soil, to bring in better topsoil, to make that area better, because we really wanted that park being, our primary feature park in town.
Sure.
To host the Mayor's Orchard.
I mean, what better place in town to put it than there?
Yes. And
yes.
John could probably talk a little more to that.
Yes. So we dug the holes, oversized, backfilled with topsoil, and planted the trees, and they're doing great.
So when you're talking about apple trees here in Jackson, as we, have the Apple Festival and all of the things, very appropriate, what made the soil not ideal? And then what soil is ideal for an apple tree?
So the dirt that was there, the soil that was there, had a lot of fill and rock. It wouldn't allow the roots to expand and grow as they wanted. This is better nutrient content in this than, of course, there is in concrete chunks and stuff. So
and rocks.
Yeah.
Rocks don't have nutrients?
No, not very many.
Well, that's cool. So you came in, you had to then, as you do at your home, we're known too around here for this like icky clay soil, which is really good for a foundation for a home, but not necessarily for things to live and thrive.
Right.
So you have to combat that a lot. I know, like when we built our house, we had to do what you're talking about. If we planted a tree, it had the holes, 7 times bigger than it should be, and then you put good stuff in there.
Yes.
Yeah. So what? Whose idea was this orchard? How did it come to be?
Well, so, even to just back up a little bit, Mayor Evans, I know when he took office, he wanted to clean up and fix up the town. And part of that involved just addressing the trees overall in town. We had a lot of older trees, hollowed out trees, and talking with our arborists, they needed to have a better care, a better plan, preventative maintenance to have that thriving urban forest. So that was a big priority for the mayor, was to improve the trees in town and address the trees. So one thing he did was bring back the tree commission,
Which is fantastic.
and they've been very active in all over town in various projects with improving trees. So the city, along with the tree commission, and then of course Mayor Evans, like I said, this was a priority for him to establish an apple orchard in the city. As we look at all of our history, in the 30s, we had nearly 50 apple orchards in the area. So we wanted
That
to really
is,
preserve that.
Like mind blowing that was a thing.
Yes.
And then they've
yes.
all
So-
gone by the wayside.
Yeah, so this is a way to preserve some of that heritage, to help support the Apple Festival. So that was, I think in combination with the Tree Commission and the city,
Yes.
this was an effort. Yeah.
So, did I interrupt you?
No.
Okay. He's a man of many words this morning. We'll get him talking here in a minute. No, and what I was going to ask you is, not too long ago, there were trees up and down Main Street, and I think everybody with the best of intentions, everywhere planted these Bradford pears and Cleveland pear trees and whatever, which seemed like a really good idea until they weren't, and now they've actually been outlawed in the state of Ohio. So those trees kind of up and down Main Street got way too big. They did all kind of crazy things to the sidewalks, whatever. So they were removed. Whether you were happy about that or sad about it, whatever, but they had to go.
Yes.
So could you address that a little bit?
Yeah. So, like you said, they were putting a lot of pressure on the sidewalks, lifting and busting the concrete and things. Overall, they had outgrown their space, and a lot of times
Yes.
on tree selection, people will pick the wrong tree for the space, and
Yes.
it's very important. You pick the right tree for the space, because you don't want to plant an oak tree 3 feet from your home. In a few years, it'll be pushing on it.
So here's the thing, when you you go to the nursery and you find this really cute little tree and you think, okay, I want to plant it here. And then 3 years from now, they grow, and people, I feel like, don't think about that.
Yes. So most of the times when you go to a nursery or Lowe's or Home Depot or someplace, there'll be a tag on that tree,
Yes.
and it'll tell you what areas it's great with, how much sun it needs, and how much space it's going to occupy when it gets mature. So,
Yeah, and you need to read that tag, because I know I'll drive up at, just around the city, and someone will have planted this like maple tree, and it'll be like in between the sidewalk and the road, and I'm like, oh, that's probably not gonna end well in 3 years or something, because they just get ginormous. But
yes,
I don't know, you're looking at it and it's a cute little tree right now.
for the time being, yes.
Yes. So will there be plans to plant more trees in the Main Street area, or are we going by the wayside with that?
I think Tracy may be able to touch on this a little
Okay.
more, but I know there are some plans to plant more trees in
Okay.
town.
Okay.
We'll continue to do that.
Okay.
Yes, currently along Main Street, the Tree Commission is kind of leading a project, I guess you could say right now with, you may see some stakes even in the ground as they're trying to make plans for where to put the trees. And and it is a joint effort between the Tree Commission and the City of Jackson, our tree trimmers, to make sure we are putting the right type of tree in the right place. So that is actively going on right now on Main Street. There in our specific downtown area, the city was able to get a grant through the Appalachian Community Grant Program for downtown revitalization. And part of that revitalization streetscape improvement will include new trees in the downtown area. So definitely that's a huge priority to improve the trees, along Main Street, downtown. And then along with the Tree Commission, we have a couple areas. I know along Morton Street, we just had a big tree improvement effort that went through. John could probably tell you more.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there were multiple maple trees up and down Morton Street, probably from Chillicothe Street to the old motorcycle shop
Sure.
there. Yes, and they had outgrown their space. They'd been trimmed and topped multiple times because there's a power line in the area. Unfortunately, trees and power lines can't coexist.
They don't go well together.
And these trees had suffered from the trimming over the years, and they were just hanging out in the streets and hollow and decaying, so they had to go.
Okay.
But the city has replanted,
Okay.
and hopefully those trees they flourish. So
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully they'll be there for many years to come. I mean, they're living things. They live and die the same as everything else. So sometimes they just run their course and they have to be replaced. So yeah. So John, talk about as a city arborist. Number one, how'd you learn how to do all that stuff?
well, it just started as an after-school job. And
Really?
I fell in love with it, so here I am, 23 years later.
That is awesome. He's a man of many talents too, by the way. But talk about your job in particular. Like what on the daily, what do you have to do as a city arborist?
Okay, so as a city arborist here at the City of Jackson, my responsibilities would include managing the street trees and low limbs hanging down into your path of travel or blocking a sign or a road. Also around the power lines. That's the department I work in. So
Okay.
anyhow, I work in the electric department at the City of Jackson, and it's our job to mitigate and keep trees off of our power lines so we can have a reliable power grid.
So what does a tree, if it's touching the power line, what does that actually, what kind of interference does that cause?
It'll shut your power off.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Because it's grounded,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it's shorting your power, so before it can ever get to you.
So we don't want that. That's a no-no. So where does it come, because I've heard this discussion some, I'm probably putting him on the spot here. Where does it come as the homeowner's responsibility versus the city's responsibility to care for trees?
Well,
Or is it gray?
it's kind of a gray area, but don't plant a massive tree under your triplex or service wire coming into your home.
That would make like
That
a
would
lot
be
of
That
sense.
would be foremost. Try and stay up on that. So if you happen to see a tree limb pushing or pulling or lifting your power line coming into your house, if you give us a call, we'll come and take care of that. Now,
Okay.
we're not going to remove a whole tree for that, but we will come and take a look at it to see if we can address that problem.
And I think the whole thing is, if everyone just works together and
Yes.
uses common sense and let's, figure this situation out.
Yes.
Because again, I mean, it may not be something that was your doing. Trees appear and
They do.
whatever.
You may have bought a home that had a big tree there.
Right.
So
Maybe a squirrel planted it. You never know.
there are some volunteer trees in this town. So.
There are, and I feel like those volunteer plants seem to be like the hardiest ones because they
yes.
choose to be
yes.
there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so as far as the mayor's orchard, so the mayor obviously kind of thought, let's start planting some apple trees here in the town. So, what are the rules around that? Can you go and pick an apple? Can you, is there some kind of city guidance? I mean, and have you told the deer the rules?
We haven't explained it to the deer yet. Well, I would say when the fruit comes on that they're a little young yet,
Okay.
and we may address that in the future, but
Okay.
it's not a problem.
No, no problem. We don't have apples on the trees yet.
No.
So, no, Jamie and I have an apple tree at our house, which was supposed to be a dwarf tree, but you know how that goes. But anyway, so we've come to the understanding with the deer that they get the bottom half and we get the top half. But one of the cutest things I've ever seen was one day I came out and there was a mama deer standing on her hind legs, and she had her little babies with her with the spots and the whole 9 yards. And anyway, she was picking the apples off our tree, and then she would drop them, and then they would eat them, and she just kept. And I couldn't get a video. I was so mad because every time I would start to go out there, she would see me. So, but I was like, that is literally the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. So that's my deer apple tree story. Yeah. So what are the plans for the future of the apple, trees and orchards? You said there's more room to grow.
There is, yes.
Literally.
Literally. So not in the main area of the park down there, but a smaller area towards Gay Street from the current mayor's orchard. There's some yard space we could use to plant more trees. Don't know if it would be apple trees or not, but there's more room there.
Okay.
City has a lot of parks. The little park on South Street, it's been planted. It's very nice there.
It
Few
is
benches and
adorable.
bushes, yeah.
Absolutely adorable.
So if you were to drive out to the Hammertown Lake, there's a big wooded area out there and a lot of room to expand. We could possibly use that, so.
Yeah, we've talked about some other park areas that may be good for future orchards. And I know the mayor's very ambitious with kind of asking the tree commission to, set a goal for, possibly even 100 trees a year. Could we do that? Could we increase the number of trees in the city? So there's, just to also mention, in 2023, Jackson was redesignated as a Tree City USA. So,
what does that mean?
Well, it's a program through the Arbor Day Foundation.
Okay.
So the city, the tree commission, we had to reapply. We used to have that designation, but it was lost a few years ago. I think it was 2017. So we wanted to reestablish that again.
Love it.
So we had to, apply. There's various information you have to submit, showing that your city is prioritizing improving the trees, the tree canopies, your urban forest. So we made that a priority, applied for it, and were able to be reestablished as a Tree City USA.
And that keeps John employed.
Yes,
Yes, it does.
and very busy.
He's like, yeah, plant the trees.
Everywhere.
That's funny. No, I think that's really, really cool. If you are in Manpower Park, maybe take time to walk over and see. How many trees did you say now? The apple trees?
25.
Okay.
25 currently, and there's room for 3 more in that space. Possibly 20 or 30 in the other space we were talking about. So.
Okay. And then, what kind of apples are they? Do you know? Or is it like going to be Christmas when they start putting fruit out?
So there's John of Gold, Macintosh, Red Delicious, Granny, the yellow
Delicious.
Yellow Delicious, yes.
So all
a few other
kinds.
varieties in there, yes.
Are there certain apples in our area that thrive better than others, or is it some of them need colder weather or warmer weather? Do you know?
No, that I'm not aware of. Now I do
Okay.
know one thing: a lot of the orchards around here that were around here are mostly on like the ridge tops. So if you've been out riding in a vehicle with the top down or with the windows down on these fall nights, you'll notice you come up out of a bottom, you're going up the hill, and it's a little bit warmer up there. Mm-hmm. Well, that helps protect them from the frost some.
Okay.
While you're waiting on a harvest. So
Yeah, no, and that's a really good point. And that was going to be my next question: is what made our area conducive to having all these apple orchards? Mr. Arborist.
ambitious farmers, I suppose.
Okay.
I don't know that one.
Certainly not lack of deer, I can tell you that.
Johnny
Yes.
Appleseed, I'm pretty sure.
Johnny Appleseed. We were just blessed. He dropped his bag as he walked through, and yeah. No, that's really cool though. And it is sad. I know a lot of folks. I mean, I remember even being a little girl and going out to different orchards and either picking apples or picking out apples. So yeah, it's nice to have this a part of our heritage come back.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what else do you have?
Well, let's see. Some fun facts about why are we even talking about trees so much? Why why are we
right?
even doing all this? Trees absorb the sounds of traffic when they're in town. So you can
Correct.
actually reduce your traffic noise by up to 40% with your trees. They produce shade buildings and such, which can reduce energy costs. So you can reduce energy costs. The figures show by about 25%, depending on your shade trees. Green space is very important. Studies have shown for improving mental and physical health. So
That's why everyone started hiking during COVID, you know.
yes,
Think about that.
Yes.
it's true.
Where did we all go? Everyone went to the nature.
Yes, yep. And of course trees provide cleaner air and higher property values too. Studies have shown. So
Okay. And allergies. This is why we all walk around going all the time.
Yes.
But that's okay because we also breathe because of trees. So it's a fair trade-off.
It is.
You know, they
It
keep
is.
us alive.
you can tell when they're active.
Yes, we definitely can. As I sit here with the
Yeah.
water pouring down my face. But
So the tree commission is starting a pollinator space over off of what is that, Mill Street or Logan Street over there?
Yes, Freeman Avenue, I believe, or
Yes.
yes, in that area.
Is that
Mill
over in
Street
Pickletown?
area.
Pickletown, yeah.
yeah. Y'all know what Pickletown is.
Yes, they were actually able to secure a grant
Okay.
through the ODNR. It was an urban forestry grant that is going to allow them to establish that pollinator garden.
What exactly is going to be in that? I know there's a few trees, flowers, anything else?
They are working with some OSU, also arborists.
Okay.
They're trying to get some good direction and advice on exactly what to plant there. Is my understanding. I think there's some preparation that has to happen first with the ground and the area, and then they'll be moving forward, developing that.
You know, very good. And I understand that sometimes you can be annoyed by bees and that kind of thing. But again, we need them to live. We are alive because of pollinators.
Yes.
So anything that you can do to encourage them is a good thing. I know, like the big flower boxes that we had out front of the brewery this summer, I had to just become one with the bees because I'm like, I'm going to water you now, and 500 bees would come up out of the thing. But I was like, I never got stung once, and I was very, like, we talked, me and the bees, and we came to an understanding that I was watering the flowers so that they could continue to do their thing.
Okay.
And we were at peace with each other.
Good.
Yeah. And, but again, that's, it needs to be encouraged, don't get annoyed by them. They do great things. Yes.
Yes.
It also helps the bees in the spring if you use Roundup or any herbicides. You know, let them have their fill for a little bit before everything else gets taken off good. You know,
Absolutely.
don't kill off everything just yet.
Correct. Yeah. Let them do their thing.
Yeah.
We need to be happy. They need to be happy little bees. So, okay. So how long do they think or how long do you think it will be before apples start appearing on the trees?
So we actually had some this year,
Oh, really?
but it was kind of scarce.
Yeah.
So producing very well in probably 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
So
Well, you have to start somewhere,
you
right?
got to start somewhere.
And do we still have to do pruning each year?
Yes,
Is there
so-
there's some maintenance work.
So we'll
to
do some
encourage that?
we'll do some pruning on them each year. About this time of year, wintertime, is when we'll do that. You have water sprouts, little suckers that come up near this base, and we'll take care of those. We'll correct any improper growth, cross branches, things like that. So just to get a good structured apple tree growing.
Sure. Now, do they continue? Do you have to continue to maintain them after they get really established, or is this like once they get going, you can just hands off?
Well, once they get going really well, we can stand back for a while and let them just grow. So
Okay.
they'll be fine after.
But it's
that.
like we're nurturing these trees right now. They're like
Yes.
our little babies that we're
Mm-hmm.
shaping and molding. And okay, all right. So everybody, be kind to the little trees over there. No, it is a sight to see, and we hope that everybody goes out and appreciates the fact that we have this beautiful park, and now something has been added to it. It's a great playground for the kids and all the good stuff. So.
A lot of times, sometimes on the tree crew, we catch some flack for removing trees. No,
yeah,
when we do remove a tree, it's not out of spite. We're doing it because
Do people really think that?
I think yes, I've heard that. I've
Stop.
actually heard that. But no, when we do remove a tree, it's because it's run its course, it's lived its cycle, or it's dangerous for public safety or something along those lines. So there's a reason we're there.
Yeah, it isn't like John wakes up in the morning and spins a wheel. He's like, this street, I'm going to go cut down all the trees. He doesn't want to work that hard to cut down all the trees.
No. I love trees. Sometimes they run their course though.
Yeah, when you cut it and there's a bigger hole in the middle than there is wood, there's probably a problem there.
Yeah.
They
What-
need cleaned out sometimes. So
Okay,
a lot of dead branches and things need removed from them. So
sure, and then they can continue to thrive. Sometimes if you get all the old bad stuff out.
yes.
Okay. That is awesome. I love that. All right. So is there anything else, Tracy, while you're here, even if we're not talking about trees, but anything going
Yes.
on with the city that you would like to mention while we have you here in the hot seat?
Well, I thought we can't leave Apple Day without talking about the big giant apple downtown. That was
Wait,
just
what apple
repainted.
downtown? I have a funny story about that. There was a guy that came into the tap room one day and he said, "This is so cool, this town." And I said, "Oh, you're not from here?" And he said, "No, I was just driving down the highway and I was looking of certain, like features or things to stop and see. And they were talking about this Apple Tower." Well, he happened to pull in during the Apple Festival. So he was like, and then there's this Apple. So I saw the Apple Tower, and then there's this Apple Festival going on, and then I found this brewery. And he was just going on and on. He was just like, loved Jackson. He's like, this is the coolest thing. And I got to thinking about it, how really cool if you didn't know an area and you just pulled off the road and saw the Apple Tower and saw the Apple Festival and found a brewery and whatever. Like, how cool would that be? In the middle of, I want to say nowhere, but not a place where you would think that you would find that stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So-
It's really that quintessential small town with, the cool water tower right downtown. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell us, I know that there was some question is why are we just painted this thing? Why are we painting it again? Or why are we spending this much money to paint this water tower?
so it was painted in 2014. We're not exactly sure why. The paint really should have stayed more vibrant for longer.
Okay.
But it didn't. So we sought, this project to have it repainted, to have it brightened up again because it needed it. So
It's just a focus of our downtown. Like it has
It
to be looking
Yes.
good.
yes, absolutely. So we reached out to actually the same paint manufacturer that had painted it before. They provided us with the paint since they felt like, yes, you're correct. It should have lasted longer.
Sure.
So we just had to hire the labor to have it repainted. So we think it turned out great.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, yes.
Absolutely. Now, here's my question. I mean, you're crazy enough getting up on those things and trimming trees. That's bad enough. But and the electric guys, they're crazy, by the way. I mean, God bless you all for doing what you do. But how do you find completely insane people that climb up on this water tower to paint it? Like, how is that a thing?
I think a certain breed of person, yes.
Like, you have to be certifiably insane to climb up on that thing and hang off of it and paint it.
It's not that high up.
Are you?
I
Yeah,
think,
see,
I think the
certifiably insane.
handrail's 110, 115 feet, so it's not
No.
that bad.
I can't even get on the first step of a ladder, so
Yeah.
no, thank you.
It was interesting to see their rigging equipment that they had. They called it the stage to move up the tower as they went to paint it. So
And of course, not only do you don't just shimmy up this thing and start painting, as you all saw, there was the big, canvas around it and all of that because of the overspray. You can't be spraying everybody's homes and cars while in downtown Jackson. So, and there's that thing called wind. It carries the paint. So, how is there? How does one even come to find a company that does that? How did you do that?
well, we advertised for bids.
Okay.
For contractors to come in to submit their bid. We did have the project engineered, so we had it set up from our engineering group. They prepared the bid documents because we did need to make sure that it was that we did our due diligence on the contractor to make sure that they are very well
This is a big deal.
qualified. Yes. So yes, we actually had several bids come in from several different contracting companies. So this particular company that we went with, they were vetted and did have the lowest bid for that work. So
Okay. Well, they
we were
did a
able to
fine
move
job.
forward. Yes.
I still think they're crazy, but they did a fine job. What are companies like that? I mean, I assume that there are companies that's what they specialize in, or painting high things. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, is that kind of all they do?
It definitely seemed to be that this was their wheelhouse. I mean, they felt
Really?
very comfortable. I assumed that they do this every day. It's just another day of work for them.
How do you How does that become your job? Like, you're going to climb up on a 150-foot tower and paint
Some
it
people
all day
don't
long.
mind the climbing, I guess.
That's
Just doesn't bother you.
it. Just you learn to trust your gear and you go with it.
Not this girl.
Neither.
Was that a local company or did they come from far away?
They were from Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Very cool.
Yes.
Well, that is really neat. So, I think I asked you this before, but plans for more, per se, apple trees. Are we going to plant the 3 that there's room for in the park?
Yes, we are going to plant those
Okay.
3,
Okay.
possibly this winter or next year sometime. But that space will be filled.
Very good. And if you haven't gone down there, please do so because it's absolutely lovely and it would be fun to just like document them, like if you had like a small child or something to like stand beside the tree and like every year see how they grow and how your child grows. I think it would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun project to do.
As the orchard grows.
Yeah, they can grow up together.
Yes.
Very, very cute. All right. Well, is there anything else as our friend Pete Wilson just came in to do some news? Not that there was anything that happened this weekend going on. Pete, have you gotten any sleep?
Some on Sunday.
Some on Sunday. Okay. Because there surely wasn't any on Saturday. Okay. Well, very good.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it.
Well, of course, you guys are welcome back anytime. We love having you here. And he's certifiably insane too because he rode his motorcycle here. I'm like, it is cold outside, dude. That's all right. We'll let you go on that one.
All right.
Yep.
Well, you have a good day.
Hey, you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you so much for spending your morning with us and hug a tree today. How's that? And it's National Apple Day, so eat an apple. Or hug an apple. Whatever it is.
Yes.
All right. Well, we do have a message from our friends at Benton County Bank, and then we'll be back.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right. Well, we are back. Thank you all. With our good friend Pete Wilson. And Pete, this was a crazy weekend here in Jackson area.
It's just an example of
Wow.
you can't throw a noose over the news and control it. It happens when it happens, and you try to get on it when it does, and so we did. And so we have a lot of initial information out. Of course, information will be in the print edition. It's already online on the website. We shared the information that we have, and we do expect to get more. And, if you were out of town or under a rock and you don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about a major business fire in Wellston.
Yep.
And we're talking about what is being investigated as a murder/standoff with law enforcement that involved a lot of gunfire.
Yes.
So we'll get right
here.
We'll get right to it. The business that burned in Wellston is Stewart's Skateland. Now, this is an older business in Wellston that goes back, apparently, we're told, 90-some years.
Oh, my gosh.
It was located on 921 South Railroad Avenue, and I use the past tense because this fire struck in the early morning hours Sunday. Don't think it was, nobody was there when it happened, and it is being investigated by the Wellston Fire Department and also the State Fire Marshal's office,
Sure.
but it apparently was a complete loss. And thanks to some connections that our Jeremiah Shaver has, we have a short video of the fire actually.
It did not save. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go see if I can.
Okay.
It's here.
We're working on it.
Okay, we may be able to show that a little later. Do we have the still photo?
No, it didn't save correctly. I'm going to see if I can.
Okay.
Okay. We'll
All right,
work
well,
on
we
that.
may come back to that because we have a little bit of time. But it's Stewart's Skateland, located at 921 South Railroad Avenue. That's kind of off the beaten track. But based on some of the comments that were on Facebook, when the owners or owner representatives, posted a message to the community, expressing regret, but also gracious for the many gestures and comments of support about the situation. We found out that it has a long history in Wellston. A lot of people remember going there as kids. and it's still going. The business is going to get with folks who would book parties and things like that ahead of time. But we have reached out to the Wellston Fire Department, who's always real good to share information with us. Right now, their report and investigation is not over. It also involves the State Fire Marshal's Office, which is not unusual when you have a fire of this magnitude, and also happening, when nobody was there. And as soon as we get that information, we'll have a lot more information about what they know about the fire and what might have caused it. That's, of course,
The big question for everyone.
That is the big thing, but it did happen in the early morning hours, and right now, nobody can say what the cause is, or if somebody has figured it out, we haven't heard that yet.
It was, Jeremiah showed me a little video this morning, and I mean, that was a huge, huge fire.
Right, and somebody had posted who wanted to remain anonymous, but were willing to share with us, and we know we count on that because it's a lot more ears and eyes out there.
You can't be everywhere at one time.
No, exactly not. But hopefully we'll be able to show that a little later. But on the Telegram's website and on our Facebook, we do have some pretty vivid photos, plus follow-up photos that Jeremiah was dedicated enough to take Sunday morning after he heard about the fire. And these, okay, there we go.
There's a photo.
Take a look at that.
Wow, that's a huge fire.
That, of course, is a fire in progress.
Wow.
I don't know what time it was. I just know that it was in the early morning hours, when a lot of people aren't out. But we have that photo right there. And we have some other photos, that you can access on the website that shows what's left, and there's not much left, to be honest with you, sadly.
I was talking with my husband yesterday, and he said, I don't know where the skating rink in Wellston is, and I said, I haven't been there for a really, really long time, but I feel like is it back behind the football stadium, or is it in that vicinity?
I think you're in the right place. It's Railroad Avenue, and Railroad Avenue. Now we're seeing some other pictures.
Those are roller skates.
Roller skates that are charred.
Don't know.
Is so symbolic
of the
loss there. But the Railroad Avenue runs parallel to Ohio Avenue. Ohio Avenue is downtown, but if you go south, it turns into a residential area. And along that road there is where the skating rink would be. Railroad Avenue is where the depot is, if that's a good reference point for you.
Yeah, okay.
And then if you go south,
yes,
for quite a bit, I think, that is where you'll run into Skateland.
Okay.
And it's called Stewart's Skateland. It's been in the same family for many years, maybe its entirety of existence. So we'll
so sad.
We'll get some answers on what they know about the nature of the fire, and when the family is able to get together and they want to make a public statement about how they're going to go forward, if they're going to try to rebuild or whatever, we'll certainly be on that too. A lot of interest in that, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of local history there in Wellston. Similar, we have a skating rink in Jackson that a lot of people are familiar with who live in Jackson.
Yeah,
the Cavalier
absolutely.
Roller
We
Rink.
all have those memories of going to the skating rink.
And I know that the Cavalier Roller Rink is going to celebrate, I think it's 75th anniversary this year. If I'm wrong on that, I'm sorry, Dale and Wanda Wetzel, but I know there's an anniversary year this year where it shows that they have been a part of our community here in Jackson for a long time. Mm-hmm. Stewart's Skateland, maybe even longer in Wellston. All right, the other major story that we had this weekend, and one that I would have led off with if it wasn't this one being just a little bit more current, was a grisly incident that is being investigated as a murder followed by a law enforcement standoff. The second part, the law enforcement standoff, we know that happened. The shooting incident where a woman ended up dying, as far as we know, there were no witnesses to that, just strong circumstantial evidence. But let's go back to this. First of all, the suspect in this case, who is under arrest and in incarceration at the Jackson County Community Corrections Facility, is Stephen Kaiser. Mm-hmm. And there he is right there. That is an inmate picture, I'm sure, taken just an hour within his arrest there in the early morning hours on Sunday. But The victim in this case, who is dead, is his wife, Tara Kaiser. Stephen Kaiser is 37, Tara Kaiser is 38. And their the residence of record that we have is 139 Franklin Grange Road, which is in Franklin Township.
Sure.
This incident happened on 4 Mile Road between Franklin Grange Road and town. 4 Mile Road, just outside Jackson. The address, and it didn't happen in a residence, but the residential address where this happened nearby, this is a good reference point, is 7667 4 Mile Road. That's not too far south of Jackson. You know, when you hit the fork of Franklin Valley Road and you stay on 4 Mile Road, it's not very far from
Right.
there. You know, if you make that right on 4 Mile Road, coming from town to the people who are more familiar with the roads here. But law enforcement received a call at, I'm going to get the time here, at 6:50 p.m. of a man standing in a driveway, very upset, yelling, threatening to kill himself. Don't know who the caller was. It could have been a passerby, could have been a
Sure.
resident. But deputies went, and that is where they confronted Stephen Kaiser, who had what was described to me as, I don't know my firearms, but it was described to me as a long automatic rifle. I've also been told it might have been a semi-automatic rifle, which is not the same thing, but
Okay.
the phrase that I was told was a long automatic rifle.
Okay.
Okay, there was gunfire exchanged almost immediately between Mr. Kaiser and the deputies that arrived.
Oh.
And he retreated. He retreated into some nearby woods.
Okay.
All right, of course, they call in a lot of extra help. Sheriff Frazier is among the first to arrive, and the deputies and Sheriff Frazier discovered a car that had gone, over off the roadway through 2 fences, I'm told, and they discovered the body of Tara Kaiser, I think, inside that car. That wasn't completely spelled out to me, but that is a presumption that I will make. She apparently had been driving that car that wrecked, and what Sheriff Frazier thinks happened, and this all has to be investigated, it's an allegation, it's conjecture, is that there was some kind of incident between Mr. and Mrs. Kaiser, maybe at their home, which wasn't
Sure.
too far.
That would make sense.
Too far, farther south and to the east. And she was driving a car. He was definitely driving a motorcycle and may have been chasing her.
Oh, okay.
And at that point on 4 Mile Road, because there's no other connection with that residence where this happened, it is believed that he shot her, maybe while she was in the car and moving, and that caused her to wreck. It also could have been possible that she wrecked and then she was shot because he had caught up to her.
Yeah. So we're still figuring all those details
Right.
out. Okay.
Sheriff Frazier believes, based on the circumstances, and I really appreciate him sharing the information, what he
Sure.
thought he could, and how things appear now. Of course, it's all under investigation. But she had 1 gunshot to the head. At the time that he arrived, she was alive. He was able to get her into the cruiser. Remember, Mr. Kaiser is nearby in concealment, but has fired his gun
Right.
already more than once. And so Sheriff Frazier was able to get her into his cruiser and then to a Jackson County EMS ambulance that arrived. They took her to Holzer Medical Center, Jackson Hospital, and she was pronounced dead there. So we go back to the scene. A lot of law enforcement arrived. You had the Oak Hill Police Department and Chief Davey Ward with his drone, which is often used in situations like this. The Highway Patrol comes. They call in one of their helicopters.
Yep.
Jackson Police is on the scene. Jackson Fire Department on the scene. Jackson County EMS. Madison Jefferson Fire Department. They're all on the scene. A lot of law enforcement officers, a lot of support personnel as well. And they closed down a section of the road between Russ Road and Franklin Valley Road. And then in addition to that, in addition to closing down the road, they set up a perimeter to make sure that if Mr. Kaiser was on the move, he couldn't get away from them.
Yeah.
They had the road closed, and they didn't go in to try to get him, so as to speak, because he was.
Because he's shooting at
He
them.
had a gun, and he was shooting him there. Sheriff Frazier could not say how many shots were fired, but over what turned out to be nearly a 5-hour period, maybe it was completely 5 hours, because it went past 1 a.m.
There's the helicopter there shining.
Right.
the
Right.
light
Now
down.
this was very important. The helicopter had the spotlight,
Yes.
and there was the drone too, and this was very important because this put eyes on where Mr. Kaiser was because he
Yes.
was concealed. They knew he was in there because every now and then there was shots.
But mind you, he's shooting at them.
He's
Yes.
shooting. They believe he was shooting at them. He was definitely firing his rifle. At one point, Sheriff Frazier said that a highway patrol trooper and a Jackson police officer, they believed that they were shot at. But he was shooting his gun, and they, for the most part, they could not see him. So anyway, there was gunfire exchange. As it turned out, during this ordeal, nobody was shot. Nobody was injured.
Thank God.
He wasn't aware of any vehicles or property being damaged by gunfire or anything. But it continued and continued and continued. They brought in some armor, in case they had to make some kind of aggressive move to try to get Mr. Kaiser, even though he had a gun. At some point, shortly before 1 a.m., Kaiser was seen, and this may have been the helicopter or the drone.
Okay.
He was seen throwing his gun into nearby brush, several yards away. At this point, law enforcement converged, and they were able to arrest him without any further trouble. And so he was taken into custody, and he is in the Jackson County Correctional Facility. Sheriff Frazier is going to be consulting with Jackson County Prosecuting Attorney Randy Dupree on possible charges. Certainly, a murder-related charge is possible. And I say all this as allegations and circumstances.
Sure.
Because as I said, to my knowledge, there may have not been any, other than the two persons involved, any witness to the shooting. We don't know that for sure, but that's the way it appears. But
Interesting.
but anyway, Sheriff Frazier believes, obviously, since Mr. Kaiser was armed, that the gun that they confiscated that was used to shoot towards or during this ordeal was the same one that killed Mrs. Kaiser, and obviously they can do tests to determine that.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, of course, an autopsy will be done, which will provide more definitive information as well. But I guess the bottom line on that, a woman is dead. That's tragic. But this whole thing could have been a whole heck of a lot worse too.
Much worse.
With the way the gunfire was going,
Yeah.
and the weapon that Mr. Kaiser had and that he was using. At one point, according to scanner traffic, he might have even indicated he had one round left and he was going to use it on himself. That didn't happen. But later on, he did throw away his weapon. Don't know whether it was out of ammunition or what it was. But another thing was they were able to communicate with him through cell phone. And at one point, I'm told, he was on Facebook. And so,
yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah, you can look.
Yeah, you can
not
look,
good.
and he might have posted something about his wife after she may have been shot,
Yes.
according to
It's
the
very
timing of the
eerie.
It is. It certainly is. And, all this is just what we know on the surface and initially. So obviously, we do have that story on the website. I want to, before I say that, I want to commend Sheriff Frazier. When we heard that something was going on, and Jeremiah, he's not here to explain this, but I want to give him a lot of credit too, because he worked with me on this, and it was a long thing. He was covering the pumpkin walk down in Oak Hill, and
A little more pleasant of a thing.
he had a couple communications that there was something going on, and he contacted one of his law enforcement sources and found out that there was, and we knew then to pursue it as aggressively as we could. I called Sheriff Frazier, and he's in the middle of that situation, and he answered his phone.
No, he didn't.
He answered his phone and talked
Oh
to
my
me, and obviously there wasn't a whole lot he could say. He confirmed the road they had closed down, and this is before they did any Nixle alert to the public or anything.
Sure.
So I was able to get that out via Facebook. He told me that he would call me when it was all over, no matter what time it was. And you don't know when it's going to be over and what's going to
Sure.
happen. So I stayed up. He called me at 1:10 a.m. I asked him some questions. There were some details that he couldn't quite answer definitively for my
Sure.
news story. He said, let me do some homework on this. I'll call you back. Called me back at 3:10 a.m.
Wow.
This is on Sunday
What
morning.
a night.
So, I'm able to ask him questions. He's very patient answering all those questions. And then, I'm able to go write that story here in the very early morning hours, 4 or 5 a.m. No sleep medication or anything. And
Wow.
Jeremiah has a scanner, and even though he had covered 3 things on Saturday, he monitored the scanner, which helped me write the story because there was some detail in there that I already knew and I didn't have to ask the sheriff about that enhanced our story. But bottom line, that story is online now. We didn't put it behind a paywall because we knew people wanted to read
It's
it. So it is available
important, yeah.
on our website and linked to our Facebook as well. So we will be following that story. Some other things to talk about, more on the nice side. Okay, the Foothills Art Festival is over. And I know you were there on Friday and you saw all the beautiful artwork.
It was great.
But one of the awards they didn't know about till Sunday afternoon was the People's Choice because people vote on that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we can show you the People's Choice. There you go. That is Aaron the Heron by Ethan Michael.
Yes,
Right.
that's awesome.
Isn't that beautiful work? But that was chosen.
That thing is huge, too. You can't tell in the picture, but it is ginormous.
That is chosen as the People's Choice. And I
Love
think part of
that.
that is how beautiful the artwork, and I think part of it is how much people respect the work of Ethan Michael,
Oh,
who is
he's
familiar with it.
amazing.
He
Yes.
absolutely is. And so we'll have a story on that hopefully in our Wednesday paper as well. Down at Oak Hill, they had homecoming, and this was on Friday evening where they crowned the king and the queen, and then they had a dance on Saturday night.
Okay.
But the king and queen for Oak Hill, if we can show them there, Adrian, there is Brindley Harden. She is the homecoming queen, and the homecoming king is Kenton Michael.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
We know him.
We do? Okay, well, you know him better than I do. I just know that he's the king.
He was part of
He
the
was
street team
one
program.
of our
Bless
street
his heart.
teams. Yeah.
See, you work with Total Media, and it leads to all
See?
kinds of success
All
in
the
life.
opportunities, right?
Well, congratulations to everybody involved in that. There was also homecoming attendants, other students that got picked as homecoming royalty court members, I guess you could say.
Sure.
So that was good at Oak Hill High School. I don't have any picture to show you, but I want to say that apparently the Clue that was on this weekend at the Marquee, 3 different showings,
Yes.
broke all kinds of attendance records.
Woohoo!
We know it was a great show, and it was going to be funny and talented thespians
Oh
and
my
directors
gosh, yes.
and all like that, but it broke all kinds of attendance records according to the Apple City Players and the Marquee itself. So if you missed it, you missed it, but
Dang
it
it.
was a success.
Good deal.
All right, I tell you what else was a success. Trunk or Treat that the Chamber did in downtown Jackson. I went and covered that one, and let me tell you, it was like the Apple Festival on Saturday. I kid you not. Only there were all kinds of monsters and princesses around, and even the adults who were the vendors, they were dressed up as well. 48 participating organizations, businesses, agencies, individuals
Unbelievable.
giving away candy at the Trunk or Treat. And the line stretched. It was like an apple butter line for the grain. It was something. I could not believe it. But we've got some pictures to show you.
Oh.
That is the Apple City Wholesalers station there with the biggest monster of all, an inflatable monster. And let's see here. You keep going, Adrian. That is the Busy Bees representing faith and fitness there.
Yeah.
And from the left, Jenny Spriggs, Debbie Boggs, and Ashley Copley. And then I really like this. This is the Wizard of Oz group
how
from the
fun.
Jackson City Library. I really like this one. Great costumes. And Roger Donaldson, he's trying to hide, but he's back there in the back row. He's the Cowardly Lion. But you can see all the Wizard of Oz characters there. That was one of my favorites right there.
How cute.
All right, and this is Jackson Police Department Chief Brett Hinch, and he doesn't look so fearsome there.
No.
He tries to put on that face sometimes, his game face. But there he is, and he had 2 inmates with him, were dressed up as inmates, and he even made his daughter, who's standing by him, Lauren Hinch, be an inmate. And her friend Collier Fulton, they're posing all together.
Funny.
And this is the one who was picked as the best decorated,
Yes,
best
love
decorated vendor. That is the Little Sharks. Now, I'm not up on my kid stuff, but apparently that's a pretty popular thing. And they all dressed up in their Little Shark outfits. That was done by Carrie Coyne, who has the 4D, a future look 4D ultrasound and photography business that operates out of the Jackson Commons.
Yep.
So we're going to have, if I have the space and the time, we're going to get that in Wednesday paper, some of these great pictures.
that.
All right, very good. Movies at Manpower went over well.
Yeah.
That was on the same evening.
Same day,
A lot of those folks that were downtown came and watched Hocus Pocus on the big inflatable screen at Manpower. Look at, I love that picture there because you can see the gazebo in the background, you can see the screen, and you can see some of the kids sitting on their blankets watching it.
Awesome.
Props to Rachel Tipton, our own
Yes.
Rachel Tipton here at Total Media, who helped organize that with some help of community sponsors. Okay, to sports real quick. The Jackson Ironmen were victors. They defeated Hillsborough 49. There's all your scores up there. Isn't that a neat graphic? Jackson over Hillsborough 49-0. Oak Hill lost to Portsmouth West on homecoming 57-13. Wellston lost on the road at Meigs 20-6. And Vinton County at home lost to Nelsonville York 39-12. More football coming, of course, this Friday, the last regular season game. Jackson,
Is it already?
It is, believe it or not.
grief.
The Ironmen, by the way, clinched a share of the Frontier Athletic Conference Championship with that victory.
Awesome.
And Bodie Wolford, I got to say this, he's the quarterback. There were so many good performances, but Bodie Wolford hit 11 out of 12 passes. I mean, he only missed one,
Wow.
and let me tell you, the one that they didn't catch could have been caught. I'll just say that.
Way to go.
So that
guys.
240 yards passing and 4 touchdowns there. All right, and then don't want to forget the runners, the cross country. It's not a glamorous sport; it's a grunt sport.
Yes.
Not
Oof.
appreciated maybe by some folks, but they had a big district meet on Saturday at the University of Rio Grande, and some of our local teams and individuals did very well. The Vinton County boys cross country team qualified for the regionals, and their lead runner, Sam Boyd, you've heard that
Yep.
name before.
Couple
There he
times.
is. He's a happy boy. He finished in 10th place out of a bunch of runners.
That's awesome.
In that field, and he led his team to the regional meet. Matthew Gibson from Jackson qualified as an individual. He did very well as well. Jackson Walker of the Vinton County Boys also qualified as an individual. He'll be there anyway because the team is.
Yeah.
Now get this. I got to show her picture. Addie Brown of Oak Hill, only a sophomore. Look at that little thing. She was first in the Division III cross country
Way
meet
to
for the
go.
ladies. Number 1.
You go,
out
girl.
Out of 100, let me see, how many runners were there? There were 116 runners, and she was first. So she will be in the regional meet as an individual. Walker Fobel from Oak Hill also made it on the boys' side as an individual. So there you are. And there's other things I could tell you, but we ran out of time. And you gave me more time than you're supposed to. So thank you.
No, absolutely. I knew there was a lot going on. We needed to cover a lot
That's
this morning.
okay. We need to plant and hug the trees too.
Yes, we do.
All right.
We do. All right. Well, thanks, Pete. I hope that you're able to get some rest after a weekend of, a lot.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Right.
So.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks to our friends from the city of Jackson for stopping by also. And we will be back here tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye, everyone.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, the Telegram is your ticket to the latest buzz in town.
Read your daily dose of local headlines, sports, and entertainment and more in hand and on paper.
Get a print and digital subscription for only $7.95 per month. Delivered fresh every Wednesday and Saturday.
Visit thetelegramnews.com or call 740-286-3023 today.
Don't just read the news, be a part of it.